Welcome back, everyone, to Market Wrap. I'm Moe Ansari, and you're tuned in as you've been doing so for over 25 years now. And as always, wherever you are, from Miami to Seattle, from California to the East Coast, and let's not forget all of you in the Hawaiian Islands, you can always pick up the phone, give me a call, and I will be more than happy to share with you my nearly 37, going on 38 years of trading experience. But for the next few minutes, hold your calls. We are going to go to our guest line as we do this time of the day every day. And today on our guest line is Dr. Dan Geller. He's creator of the Money Anxiety Index and author of the book, Money Anxiety, How Financial Uncertainty Changes Consumer Behavior and the Economy. Dr. Geller is an experienced researcher, an analyst, and an expert in statistical modeling. He developed a money anxiety concept and index, as well as the new segmentation methodology called behaviorology. He is he frequently featured in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, the Bloomberg Newsweek, and has appeared on CNBC, Fox News Radio, and numerous regional programs. And now he is with us on Market Wrap. Dr. Geller, welcome to Market Wrap.
Thank you, Moe. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Let's start with the Money Anxiety Index. What is it, and why did you create it?
The Money Anxiety Index basically measures the level of financial anxiety among consumers in reaction to real or sometimes perceived economic threats. In other words, when consumers feel financial danger as a result of declining economic conditions, the level of money anxiety goes up, and they immediately reduce spending and increase savings. That's a normal survival reaction that basically originates in our reptilian part of the brain, which is the part of the brain that was designed for our survival. It's the same part of the brain basically that is in charge of giving us this sign to run when we see a tiger in the wood. So the concept is how our level of money anxiety impacts financial decisions is one of the reasons that I started thinking about developing the money anxiety.
Yeah, that is something that when you talk to people who lived through the Depression, they always had this sort of fear that, oh my God, another depression is going to come. Now people who've lived through the Great Recession of '08 and '09 they still have this anxiety. They're still looking for the world to end because the economic situation got very tenuous. The banks were in trouble. Their real estate prices went down. Their stock prices went down, and people felt very financially exposed. And they're still feeling the hangover of that. So once the anxiety goes up, how long does it last?
It lasts until they feel that the economic conditions, the threat, subsides. That's basically it. When they feel that the economic threat subsides, then the level of financial anxiety goes down, and then they resume spending and the normal financial activities. That's kind of the cycle.
Dr. Geller, the book that you wrote, Money Anxiety, How Financial Uncertainty Changes Consumer Behavior and the Economy, I think that's one of the really, hitting it on the head. I've talked about it for the last 4 or 5 years, how people are still scared, even though the stock market is up 180% from the lows, everybody's still looking for the world to end. In your book, you write that you are often asked if the money index can predict the stock market. How do you answer that question?
That's correct, Moe. I'm often asked this question, and my answer to this question is yes, but. Let me explain. The Money Anxiety Index is a trend predictor that acts as an early warning system to shifts in the economy. Mm-hmm. So in the book, I clearly demonstrate how the Money Anxiety Index detected the arrival of the Great Recession 14 months before the recession was officially declared in December of 2007. Mm-hmm. So this type of an early warning system is highly valuable to any investor. However, the money anxiety is not a daily predictor of stock market fluctuation. That's the but part.
So it tells you sort of when the long-term trend is going to change, or the anxiety level, that we could be going into a recession as far as the economy is concerned. What is the Money Anxiety Index telling you now?
So here is a case in point.
Right.
For May of this year,
Right.
the Money Anxiety Index shows a flat month. A flat month basically means uncertainty and indecisiveness among consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And this should be a red flag to any investor because it means that consumers are halting spending due to economic uncertainty. So just as you said, look at the volatility of the market this month. Clearly, that's a reflection of what the way consumers feel.
Dr. Geller, what is behaviorology, and what are the 6 types of financial orientations identified by behaviorology?
So behaviorology is a financial behavior segmentation, much like demographics, which segments people by their age, income, etc. So behaviorology divides people by their financial behavior, and there are 6 behavioral types. Now, the main difference between behaviorology and, let's say, demographics or psychographics is that financial behavior is shared by everyone, not just one segment of the population. Let me give you an example from the last recession. One of the behavioral orientation that I describe in the book is mattress money.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a phenomena that occurs during times of high financial anxiety, and when people shift money from CDs in the bank to liquid accounts, such as checking, savings, and money market. The reason they do that is because it gives them the feeling that the money in liquid accounts is more accessible to them in case of a financial emergency or need.
Mm-hmm.
So let me put some numbers on that. Before the recession, 6 out of every $10 in the bank was sitting in liquid accounts. Now, 8 out of $10 in the bank is in liquid accounts. So if we put it in dollar amounts, out of the 10 trillion with a T, $10 trillion that is now in bank accounts, 8 trillion is sitting under the mattress.
So basically in cash right now. We are talking to we are talking to Dr. Don Geller. He's the creator of the Money Anxiety Index and author of the book, Money Anxiety, How Financial Uncertainty Changes Consumer Behavior and the Economy. Dr. Geller, Chapter 2 of your book is titled Measuring Financial Anxiety. How do you do that, and what is the benefit?
Okay. I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons I started developing the Money Anxiety Index is because I wanted to find a way to measure people's emotion in an empirical way.
Mm-hmm.
So statistically, it's very simple to measure relations between observed variables. So for example, when it gets dark outside, people turn on their lights. We can observe the darkness, we can observe the lights. That's easy. But how do we do that with emotions, which is what we call latent variables? We cannot observe it. And this was the challenge. Luckily, advanced statistical models allow for that, and the model that I used for the Money Anxiety Index is called structural equation modeling, or SEM in short.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the greatest benefit of having an index that measures the level of money anxiety is that it reflects how people really feel as opposed to what they say they feel in response to consumer confidence questionnaires. And, ironically, I wanted to mention in the book, I documented the gap between what consumers say in response to consumer confidence surveys and what they actually do with their money. And there was one case that I showed that there was even a conflict between the 2 leading consumer confidence surveys. One showed, for the same month, one showed an increase in confidence, the other one showed a decrease. Clearly, this can never happen with the same type of sample at the same time. So it shows that what people say is not necessarily what they always do with their money.
Chapter 8 of your book is titled Financial Anxiety and Risk-Based Decisions. Can you give us a summary of this and explain how our anxiety can impact our risk-taking?
Of course. So risk-based decisions, or also called loss aversion theory, is kind of an evolving science,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say the latest and most prevailing theory is the prospect theory developed by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky.
Mm-hmm.
So in the most simplified way, prospect theory basically states that people hate to lose twice as much as they love to win. Let me give you a very simple example.
Okay.
Let's consider that one has a 50-50 chance of winning or losing.
Right.
And let's say that the potential loss is $100. So the
Right.
question is, how much should the win amount be to compensate for a potential loss of $100? Prospect theory says $200, twice as much. Now, I agree with that under average level of money anxiety. However, where I depart from prospect theory and where I introduce my theory, which I call dynamic risk-based decision, is that basically the amount varies with the level of money anxiety. It fluctuates and it's dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So in the book, I show how the money anxiety factor changes the ratio between what people expect to win versus what they potentially could lose based on their level of money anxiety. And it could fluctuate from up to 4 times the amount rather than what prospect theory states 2 times.
So it's not constant. In the prospect theory, the fear is constant. And in yours, you're saying it's dynamic, that when the anxiety goes up, the fear of loss also goes up. It could be that it's 4 times the pain when you lose money compared to if you don't make it.
Moe, I couldn't say it better than that.
Okay. How much do you think money anxiety impacts investor decisions, and is it beneficial or detrimental?
Okay, so the advantage of the money anxiety concept, the index, and the model is that it's universal. In other words, all people are subject to the impact of financial fear because we all share the same brain structure, which is where our intuitive and analytical decisions originate from.
Okay.
And this is even more relevant to investors who make financial decisions much more frequently and in a larger scale than the average person.
Right.
So more than any other group of professionals, I would say investors can benefit from the concept of money anxiety because it provides them with an early warning system to one of the factors that controls, as you know, 70% of GDP,
Right.
consumer consumptions.
Right.
So let me put it this way.
Right.
An investor who keeps a close eye on the money anxiety level of consumers can be proactive and make beneficial decisions before it's too late.
That's really the key right there.
value of the index.
Dr. Giller, I want to thank you. I could talk to you for hours. This is such a fascinating subject. Thank you so much for taking the time and being with us today on Market Wrap.
Moe, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
You're very welcome. By the way, Dr. Geller has been kind enough to provide us copies of his book, Money Anxiety. The first caller from each listening area wins a free copy. The Bay Area, Scottsdale, Sacramento, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Houston, San Diego, Los Angeles, Orange County, Honolulu, Denver, Palm Springs, Miami, Sacramento, wherever you are. Pick up the phone. Give us a call right now. First caller gets this book, and it's a great book. If you don't get it, you can always go and get it at Amazon.com and all major online booksellers. You are listening to the daily edition of Market Wrap. I'm Moe Ansari. I'm going to take a short break. Stay tuned, and I will be right back.